Hello, and welcome to the UFred10 podcast series. My name is Sarah Tesson, and I'll be with you for the next 10 episodes. The UFred10 podcast is about celebrating the University of Fredericton's 10-year anniversary and telling its story through the stories of our community. So over the coming weeks, you'll hear from 10 members of our community, including students, alumni, faculty, and staff. We'll discuss their UFred experiences, their successes and their goals, and where they see the university heading as we move forward. So a little bit about me. I've worked at UFred for the past 3.5 years, where I manage the marketing and communications department. I'm originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia, but have lived in Fredericton for the past 7 years. And I'm actually a student in the Standout MBA program myself. So I'm very excited to be sharing some of the stories of our community. Today's guest is Jennifer Buchanan. Jennifer finished her last course in the Executive MBA program in November 2016 and is an alumna of the Social Enterprise stream at the Standout School of Business. She's a certified music therapist, past president of the Canadian Association for Music Therapy, and a published author. Over her 25-year career, Jennifer has been instrumental in the implementation of hundreds of music therapy programs through her well-established company, JB Music Therapy, which currently serves more than 1,800 clients. So welcome, Jennifer.
Oh, this is great.
Jennifer, I'd like to get started, if you don't mind, telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, you said a lot there. I have been really fortunate that I have been able to establish a business from a fairly young age. I graduated from the music therapy degree program out of Capilano University in British Columbia back in '91, and there was an opportunity for an internship in music therapy. You have to complete 1,000 hours of internship in order to achieve your certification, and an opportunity came up in Calgary, and I traveled out to Calgary. I can remember being 21 and still in my car with all the stuff you think you need, and I had all the wisdom of a 21-year-old, and you get all settled into your place in Calgary, and I fell in love with this city. I fell in love not necessarily with all the things that I was looking at, but with definitely the people that I was meeting. And I was fortunate that music therapy was unknown here at the time, but there was such a quick uptake of interest in our current client is our youngest is 2 months old with visual impairment, and our oldest is 106 with dementia. And in between, we are at palliative care sites, hospice sites. We go to mental health facilities. We see a lot of kids with autism and cerebral palsy. There's just a huge scope of people that we've gotten to know and become real partners, and at times it feels like family with a lot of these nonprofit agencies. And that has definitely been the crux of my life. Oh, certainly I've gotten married and I've had kids, but the business part of my world has been a real satisfying part of my whole life that I've had all these years. So, yeah.
That's so interesting. It sounds like you've had obviously a really varied experience with so many different groups of people and that kind of thing. So, what was it that drove you to continue your education with UFred?
Well, I knew that I had a unique business model. I've always seen us as a social purpose business, a small business in that. So we have a staff capacity of 18 to 20. We fluctuate between 18 and 20 every year. And as you said, we're serving about 1,800 clients. And in that, I also knew that we were definitely not profit driven. Being the business model, of course, is that we're serving nonprofits. And I can remember my accountant saying in my first or second year of business, he goes, "You do know that this is the impossible business model, right, Jen?" and I knew it was unique in that, and that we were going to have to drive off of other things besides profit in order to make this successful. I knew that right from the get-go, and I didn't even know if it was possible. And like I said, the nice thing about not knowing what you're doing at the beginning is that you do whatever you need to do. And so constantly pivoting, constantly innovating, constantly just trying and testing things and being quite fearless through that. Perfect. So what ultimately led me to UFred was the fact that I started getting nervous. I started being a little bit more fearful in my business. And I was just over that 40-year mark in my own personal age, and at about the 20-year mark of my business. And I was really realizing that I wasn't sure if this was truly viable and sustainable, especially when you pulled me out of the picture. And I was realizing we've developed this legacy, this important business within our community, and I wanted to ensure there was some form of succession that will come after me. That's when I started realizing just how many gaps I had in my business, and I was missing some of the core language. I really noticed that when I would meet with other executives that were in larger companies than mine, in particular or in specialty fields, and they had a certain language around them that I really wanted to acquire for my own professional development. I didn't have any desire to leave where I am now, but I certainly did want to make it a whole lot better. And like I said earlier, we haven't been profit driven, but as we know, if there isn't profit there, there's also lower sustainability. So I began a search, and actually I was searching for an MBA program off and on for probably 3 to 4 years. And it's something that was also going to be a real personal achievement, and I saw it as that I wanted to accomplish. And when I was doing these searches, I knew that the right place was going to be there. I just didn't know how it was going to be there. I didn't know if there was one out there that would focus on small business, and certainly not a social purpose business. And when I saw the social enterprise stream at UFred, it was pretty emotional, actually. I couldn't believe that we've come that far. And when I learned that it was in Canada, also something that I was really hoping for was that Canadian perspective. I just knew that you basically developed this whole program for me, so I thank you for that. and I was feeling pretty joyful about that, and I applied, and although social enterprise isn't exactly what we do, because we are a for-profit but we are definitely social purpose, it is probably the closest thing that I could find that could help me fill those gaps and would also give me that language that I so much desired.
That's fantastic. So have you found that you've been able to achieve that language? Like, have you found that your education at UFred has enhanced your career that way?
Yeah, at first it's interesting because you sort of knock down our confidence a bit at the beginning, because you start going through you go through these classes and you go, oh my goodness, there's so much I don't know, right? So, and then you slowly build through all those incremental steps, and you start gaining all of that understanding at a new level, and it does build over time. The language is very similar from class to class, and so you're able to start having it embedded inside of you. And I know when I was doing my course streams in the social enterprise stream, and I was learning more about social enterprise, I started actually as good as it was for me, I started understanding my clients better and all these nonprofits that I serve and all this new striving for creating social enterprises within their businesses. And now I have a new language that I can talk to my clients in just maybe not necessarily always the most intelligent way, but I'm definitely more aware of what's going on. And that's been really exciting. I've been being able to go to my Chamber of Commerce meetings here and find the people that are involved in social ventures and be able to ask the questions that I didn't even know I had at the beginning, and how I'm able to do some new partnering relationships within my own community.
That's fantastic. It's always great to hear that it's made such a difference. If you, Jennifer, had to pick out a standout moment from your UFred education, especially where it was so recent here, what do you think it would be?
Well, I am actually going to say it was our capstone project. I was fortunate to actually be in a capstone project with you, Sarah. So, and I didn't know if my education could have gotten better. The fact that I was able to apply every class and write so many papers on my own business and to really grow my business that way and fill in those gaps, I didn't know what to expect out of the capstone. But when we were given a project of another agency that really was reaching out for some support, and that I felt as if my 25 years of owning my own business and my education at UFred just came into this incredible place of enjoyment, where everything just, it was a way where everything just connected in that moment, and that I really felt quite validated that I'd gotten to that place where I wanted to be, which is, yes, I am a business here in Canada and with some insights, and it's all about helping one another out and other businesses out, and it just all converged into this amazing experience during our capstone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you summarized it so well. It's such an interesting thing to see so many varied concepts come together and be able to apply so many different experiences, and especially from so many different backgrounds with your different group members and everything. It really was, I wasn't sure how it was going to, come out in practice, but it was phenomenal.
It was, truly.
So, Jennifer, what do you see as being the primary benefit then of your UFred education? If you're taking a look at all these different sort of concepts and different practices and that kind of thing that you've learned on your way, what do you think the primary benefit would be?
Well, coming from my own perspective, so in speaking to any other business owners out there, there's always going to be a way to improve your business so it can have greater impact on your community and in your own life. And what I felt UFred did really strongly for me was it gently recognized all of my weaknesses, all of those bottlenecks that we have, and began to massage them to a place where they could improve. And I definitely have found that. And just to say in a very sort of quantifiable way, and I mean, we can do more research on this a year from now, but we have tripled our profit over these years that I've been at UFred, just by filling some of these bottlenecks and these gaps. And what that's doing is it's actually creating more music therapy jobs, and we're able to serve more people. So that's pretty big.
That's absolutely outstanding. That's amazing. So where do you see yourself going professionally from here then? It sounds like you were a little bit unsure coming into the program and that kind of thing about what the future of your business looks like. So professionally, academically, now that you're out of the program and everything, where do you see yourself going from here?
Yeah, well, I'd like I'd like to write another book, actually. My first book was on music therapy. My second book's going to be about community impact. I've been looking at that for some time, and I'd really like to bring that forward next year. I'm about halfway through. And I would say that I'd like to do more training and education myself, supporting other small businesses, other social purpose businesses, and in particular across the country, and learning from them, partnering with them, and supporting them as best as I can.
That's fantastic. That sounds great. So one more question here I have for you, and I'm just wondering, so since we're talking about UFred's 10-year anniversary and everything, and we're really trying to tell the story of UFred through our students and through the community that's been created over these years, what is it about UFred that makes you proudest to have completed your education here?
I'm really proud to complete Education Canada, for sure. I really have loved the spirit and energy of UFred. I feel that it has been a positive experience, and I'm actually surprised you're only 10 years old, because everything was quite flawless on my side in regards to the training, education, the setup. You really helped me along the way, and I would classify myself a fairly seasoned professional and around training and education a lot, and you really met and exceeded all my expectations, so I'm thankful for that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad. So, Jennifer, just to wrap things up, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about your UFred experience before we go here?
Well, except I think what I will say is that if you're ever in New Brunswick, ever in Fredericton, and you want to go and just knock on the door and go and visit, you can do that, because from Calgary I was able to do a visit out there, and it was just nice to meet the people that you're regularly dealing with. So I was grateful for that opportunity too.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Thanks.